Welcome to the SNF Spotlight series, brought to you by Renewal Rehab, a dynamic therapy company that provides full-service therapy for nursing homes. You will be hearing from some of the leading nursing home professionals in the country, as well as many healthcare heroes that are sacrificing day in and day out to help your loved ones recover and come home to you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to another amazing episode of the SNF Spotlight series. If you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, now would be a great time to do so. Today, we have the opportunity to have the Chief Executive Officer of Apex Hospice and Palliative Care join us, Shelley Cartwright. Thank you so much, Shelley.
Thank you for having me.
So Shelley, can you tell us a little bit about you and how you moved up in the ranks and now running a pretty large company?
I started at Apex. So Apex is about 10 years old, and I've been here for 7 of those 10 years. And I came kind of as a consultant to oversee their marketing department because they were very small. They only had 7 patients when I got here. And we have just been very innovative. Retention of staff is huge for growth. So we've retained all of our hospice aides and our supportive care services since the day I've been here, and evolved our palliative care program, which has been our greatest success. So we have grown into about a medium-sized company. We're not so large yet, but we're headed in the right direction. And I think, as with any healthcare entity, it's quality, ethics, and compliance equals success. So I think that's where we shine.
Can you give us a little rundown of what Apex Hospice provides?
Absolutely. Of course, we provide hospice services, end-of-life care. We also provide palliative services, which is for those who have a chronic illness that require symptom and pain management in their homes, engaging them in advanced care planning, allowing them to have a voice in the journey of their chronic illness, and then improving the collaboration across the continuum with physicians and skilled nursing facilities and hospitals. And so we serve probably about 500 palliative patients each year now.
Oh, wow. So how has the COVID situation impacted your team's caring for the patients and that corporate structure?
So it really has not so much impacted our employees being able to care for our patients. You know, as the pandemic evolved, of course, it became difficult to see them because skilled nursing facilities and hospitals began to prohibit, hospice and home health and some other healthcare entities to be inside of the facilities. As far as our employees, I'm so proud to announce that we have not had one frontline employee have COVID-19 since it began. We were very well prepared as it was applied to protective equipment, being trained to wear that, being able to train our patients and families so they felt comfortable letting them in. So they truly have been heroes. They never complain. So our care has continued. The only thing that has stopped it is if we aren't allowed to go in and see our patients somewhere at this point.
So how are dealing with these 500 patients, how are they handling the situation emotionally, psychosocially, especially with not being able to see family as much? How are they feeling?
Yes, they are disconnected from those they need the most at every aspect. And the patients are, as are their family members or their friends, they're afraid and they're angry. They're very emotional. We have spent a lot of time making sure that We have more contact than normal with their families who cannot see them, even if they're at home. So, 80% of our hospice and palliative patients are in their own homes, but still keeping them safe and connected to their family members who can't visit their home because they're frail, elderly with underlying diagnosis. So just spending a lot of time visiting the patient, connecting the patient with their family while we're with them, and also connecting with the families on a regular basis to try and eliminate some of that fear. I was just involved in an article with Hospice News most recently, and there's a 25% increase in mental health issues for the elderly and frail, and particularly who are at end of life because of the separation of their loved ones. I mean, we all know that most people will pass when they feel they have connected with all the right family members and feel that permission to go, and they don't have that anymore.
So, for example, myself, I'm sort of a young man, 37, with a family, kids, a wife, being able to be home with and spending time with them. So even if I get in quarantine, I'm able to have that connection with the people that I love. How would is there a way that someone like me can empathize and relate to someone who's alone and, sick and family members can't visit them? How would you describe that?
It's disheartening. I mean, people are sad. Family members are angry. It's hard to understand. No one wants to be diagnosed with COVID-19, but every connection, you have that chance of that happening. They don't have the opportunity, like you or I, of going to work and maybe quarantining at home with our own family members and still having that contact. They don't have that opportunity. Even if the patient is at home in their own home, the family member has to live with the idea that they could make their loved one sicker. And we have had family members who have decided they can't wait anymore. They want to see their loved one, and indeed have exposed them to COVID-19.
Wow, it sounds like such a challenging situation, especially for most people, they're thinking, hey, so I'll see them in a year and a half, whatever it is. But these hospice patients, many of them don't have that time. And it's just makes it all the more so when a vaccine comes out, I could spend that time. Do you have any recommendations for such a situation of making it a little easier?
So I remember my management team and I talking early on when this pandemic started, and we actually talked about how the pandemic was being handled nationally. And I worked in nursing homes before they were skilled. So years ago, I spent 15 years of my career in skilled nursing before they were even skilled nursing. And many of us that work in hospice actually come from that industry, just kind of do a switchover. And we talked immediately about, and this has probably been the most difficult, is the government agencies or regulatory agencies focusing on the skilled nursing facilities, because they're the highest regulated industry in the United States, but they were ignored in the beginning of the pandemic. And then when they were recognized, which is where the elderly are in isolated, crowded areas, I mean, where else are you going to go inside of a facility, that if they would have gotten the attention they needed, the PPE would have went to the skilled nursing facilities. They would have had COVID testing instead of being critical of them. It would have stopped all the prohibiting of patients and families, because let's face it, that is where the elderly, end of life, frail people reside. So if there was one recommendation, it was that healthcare entities were not closed off from each other in any way or manner. It should have been a time where we all came together, helped each other, worked closely in the best interest of these patients and families, and that didn't happen. And I think that's what makes it sad. And no one can prepare for a pandemic we've never lived in or heard of. It's like, there you are. But I truly believe that the focus could have been shifted more, since the government said that we're in this pandemic and it is going to take the lives of elderly individuals with underlying diagnoses. So we're going to focus all our attention on hospitals when we have hundreds of skilled nursing facilities. I mean, just in the state of Illinois, who were not even, you heard nothing about them until like April or May, and then it was very critical.
Right. So would you say that it may be, people need other people socially? For the elderly, would it possibly be more dangerous not to have visitors and family around them and loved ones more than the actual disease?
So, well, that's a hard question. I don't know. You'd have to put yourselves in their shoes, but are they being given that choice? They're not being given that choice. We worked very early on some of the things we could do for our patients and families, and it may sound a little, I don't know, is we made sure that skilled nursing facilities had PPE. We had excessive amounts. We were very well prepared so that at least the patient and family could see each other if needed. They would be able to be provided with that, or even the employees of the skilled nursing facilities, because who's taking care of our patients when we can't get in? They are. So why not keep them safe so we know our patients are being cared for? Our patients at home, we've given PPE to their families and we've trained them to use it so they can visit. And it's a chance you take, but it is our patient's choice. And we are going to do what they want us to do and what they need for their own well-being, mentally, psychosocially, at the end of life. They have to be able to say goodbye, and they have to feel comfortable as you can with dying.
So Shelley, what would you say differentiates, your Apex Hospice and Palliative Services as opposed to some of the other options out there?
We used the pandemic to our best interest and created some new programs and services that are above and beyond. We took this time to build a program called Life Strong, and it is a cancer center program where we focus on the individual and not the cancer and what they're experiencing and how we can make a difference in their life. The other thing that, the other item that I would focus on is that we are more of a home-based hospice. So we have always strived to make sure patients get to die at home if that's what they want. And, 80 to 85% of our census is patients at home. How has that differentiated us? Because the patient goes home, the family wants to be with them, they get to put closure, and then they can't take care of them anymore. It's overwhelming. You can't be the caregiver of your family member. You have to be the family member. So in return, we are able to partner with our skilled nursing facilities. We are placing 3 to 5 patients a week in skilled nursing facilities, whether it's for respite or if it's for long-term. So again, we're able to pull these healthcare entities together where we should be during a pandemic, because now the patient and family trust us. So we can help them to trust the other healthcare providers as well. And it's working. And I think during the pandemic, keeping them from the hospital with 24/7 palliative services, which no one has, and just being able to get them home to put that closure has made a difference.
Thank you so much, Shelley, for joining the SNF Spotlight series. You can find her on her website at apex-hospice.com. And thank you all for watching. Stay safe and healthy. I'm Yitz Rubin with Renewal Rehab, the best therapy provider in the U.S. Trust Renewal to renew your loved one.
Thank you for listening to the SNF Spotlight series. Please subscribe to our channel, as there will be many new and exciting episodes from our healthcare heroes.